Guys, and welcome back to my channel. Mariah Davida here, and in today's video I am going to show you guys how I created this eyeshadow look. I was craving to do like a yellow based shadow look, so I finally got around to doing it, and so I'm going to do a voiceover and just show you guys how I created this look. And yeah, if you would like to see how I created it, it's not going to be a long intro, then stay tuned. So diving right in, I am bumping music, which is why this ended up being a voiceover video. I am laying down my eyeshadow primer. Now, my eyeshadow primer of choice is the P. Louise eyeshadow base. It is a product that is formulated to specifically use as a primer for eyeshadow. I love it. This is what I have been using for the last several years. You can use whatever primer that you want to use. Sometimes people use concealer. It really just depends on what works for you. I love this product, so this is my go-to when I do my eyeshadow. After patting and laying down my primer and making sure it's nice and smooth, I'm going to go in with my shadows. Now, I slowed down the shadows so you could really see what shadows I am using. I've pointed them out onto the screen. You do not need to use the exact same eyeshadows that I am using. These eyeshadows have been discontinued, so just use what you have. I am laying down this like khaki brown shade into my crease first. I am using a patting motion. What this does is it deposits the color of the eyeshadow, and I'm able to build it up to the opacity that I want it to be. I do want this look to be pretty intense, so I take my time. This is in real time. I have not slowed down this clip. Most of the clips, I'll let you know if I've slowed anything down, but most of the clips that you guys are seeing, I am working in real time. So I'm taking my fluffy crease brush and I am patting the shadow down. Like I said, pat, 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 pat. I am building up that crease color. After I get my desired opacity, like I said, I'm going to start doing windshield wiper motions to start to like feather out the edges of this first base color. The reason why I do this is because the way that my method works, and just when you're blending shadow, you want to first, again, layer up the pigmentation of the shadow to what you want. And then without going into any other color, I'm now starting like those windshield wiper motions. I'm like fading and feathering out the base color. This is going to help start that process of that transition and the gradients that I'm looking for with my shadow. So it's a lot of like patting and slight windshield wiper motions into my crease. Once that's all said and done, I'm going to go in and add a little bit of a darker brown. It's like a blackened brown. And I'm concentrating this on like the lower portion of my eye on the outskirts, kind of like in my sockets. This is going to add further like depth and kind of like a contour and give the illusion of like my socket and make it a little bit more prominent. That's the whole point of putting a deeper shade in your crease, whether that's like a deeper color that you're using, depending on the look that you're going for, or a black or a dark brown. Again, it really just depends on the look, but I use this same type of like method for any shadow look that I'm going in. I'll do my base color first, and then I add a deeper tone to add further depth and dimension. I'm going back in with that first brush, and I am going back in and blending. We want to marry those two colors together. So we're marrying the deeper color and the base color. Now on the very outskirts of that base color, closer to my brow bone, I am now going in and pressing in my foundation powder. You can use whatever color this is. It's like custom to what your complexion is. So for me, I'm using my foundation powder, pressing that under my brow bone, and then again, further blending out that crease color. This is going to help make the shadow look like it's coming from my skin. So from my brow bone to like my mid crease to my socket, you're going to see like a gradient effect of the colors blending seamlessly, and we're avoiding that like muddy look. Once that's all said and done, I'm going in with that yellow tone from the eyeshadow palette, and I'm adding that, I'm sandwiching it in between like my brow bone and where like my base color is ending, because I want that wash of yellow. This is going to give that like kind of like aura of the yellow and incorporate it into the eye look, which is what I wanted to do in the first place. So I laid down these colors, and now I'm sandwiching in this yellow shade, and building that up until I'm, I guess, satisfied with how that is looking all on my lids. Blending eyeshadow is really just taking your time and lightly layering and feathering colors. And it definitely takes like practice, because sometimes people, I find when they're asking me about shadow, they get frustrated because their colors start to kind of like blend into one. But if you use these kind of like motions and methods when you're applying your shadows, and just be patient. Sometimes you might have to go back in, relayer the shadow, to add a little bit more intensity, because it might have like, you know, kind of rubbed away if you're kind of like building in another color. Because like now I'm building on top of like my base and that deeper color, but I am going to go back in and add more depth and dimension. I'm gonna have to reinforce some of the shades and then like reblend them into each other, if that makes sense, which is what I'm doing right here. That's funny. So I'm taking that base color and I'm going right back into my crease with it, and like again reinforcing that shade. It all matters, I promise. For my lid space now, I am carving it out. So I want my lid to pop. So I'm taking my flat brush and my eyeshadow primer, the P. Louise base, and I am slowly working out on carving my cut crease. That's what I wanted to do today, a cut crease. So I am just building that up and stamping out the shape, and then going in and cleaning up. Again, this is real time. So this is me cutting my crease. I'm gonna go back over it several times, make sure that it's even, make sure what it looks like when my eye is open and things of that nature until it's perfected to how I want. And then I'm gonna go in with a denser brush like I did earlier when I was initially laying down my base. And I'm gonna make sure I like smooth out the edges so that when I relay back my shadows, it's again a seamless like blend. Nothing's skipping, nothing's kind of like goopy in any area. It's like all smooth. So I'm going back in with that dark brown, and as you can see, it's getting a little bit more intense because I relayed that base. So again, I'm patting out that dark brown color on the outskirts of my eyeshadow. And then on the inner portion of my eye, I'm adding that like light cream yellowy shade. And I'm putting that on the inner portions of my lid. Now I'm going in with the base color that I applied initially. And I'm going to pat that in between that light tan color, yellowy tan, and the dark brown, sandwiching it in between, and again building up that intensity. Okay, so the next step, I'm actually adding a little bit of black for this step. I wanted to make it a little bit more smoky. I know that I intentionally want to do like a smoky black liner on the top, so I'm adding a little bit of black just to deepen up the look a little bit more, make it a little bit more intense and like dramatic. And then once that's done, I'm going to take a smaller detailer brush and I pick up some of my eyeshadow primer and I start applying it on my lower lash line because I am going to add shadow to my lower lash line. And then I'm pressing in that dark brown shadow. So that's going to smoke out my lower waterline. That's what I like to do. And then we're going to transition into liner. I'm using an angled brush and the ABH water cream, like the cream gel liner in the shade Jet. And I'm not doing a wing. I'm literally just doing a line across the lid. And then I'm going to smoke out the edges there and feather that into the black that I just popped into my corner. So it's, again, all a smooth, smoky, gradient transition. I also use that same liner and I do apply it on my waterline, which you will see in the next clip. This is a really good eyeliner. It is waterproof. It doesn't budge. The only thing that I end up doing that I show a little like section of is I set the top liner, my waterline, and like I smoke it out with a matte black shadow. When I use the ABH gel liner, or any gel liner for that matter, setting it with a black powdered shadow is key. That is going to lock in your product and just extend that longevity. So that is what I like to do. That is a step that I would make sure you guys add if you ever use a gel liner. And that is the completed eye look. Okay, so this is the final look. This is the eyeshadow using my Give Me Glow Cosmetics eyeshadows, creating this like yellowy, neutral based eyeshadow look. It's like definitely dramatic. It's sultry. It has like smoky liner, large lashes, but I love it. I love how it turned out. It's exactly like what I was envisioning in my mind. So I hope you guys enjoyed this eyeshadow tutorial, and I'll definitely see you guys in the next one. Bye, loves.